Luckily the hardware sells ready-made epoxy kits for garage floors, because I think that's why that went so well. It's good I didn't even have to find a container to put the epoxy in, because it just came in one bladder. And the bladder was like, had a little division between it, and you just, you mix it all up, and then they say by rolling it on the ground on a flat surface, you just mix it up by kneading it or just squeezing it, and then all you simply do is just push one side really hard, and then the middle seam just bursts open internally, just hemorrhages, and then part A and part B of the epoxy just mix. So that was really easy. At the beginning, I started off really sparingly because I just had a funny feeling that it wouldn't go far enough. The size of my concrete slab was the bare minimum that the box said it could cover. So theoretically, it should have easily covered it. However, one thing I did notice, now I advise to seal any concrete, as I've said, with the primer or sealer, but I noticed in the fine print instructions, it actually said don't use on sealed concrete. So it's a bit of a blurry area because I kind of used primer. I didn't know if that referred to paint, like sealed with paint, or sealed with like a varnish, because you can get like a varnish and then don't go over the top. Whereas the primer really seeped in, like the primer is really subtle. It's not like a shine, it's not a surfactant, it's not on the surface necessarily. But one thing it did say is that if it was already sealed, that would void its anti-peel warranty. So it has a warranty. It says will not peel up. Epoxy is pretty good on anything. Like epoxy won't peel up. Like, it's pretty good stuff. Couple of mistakes I made. It came with some non-slip little sand. I call it, in the profession we call it liquid sand, and you put it in varnish on floors so you don't slip. I thought it would wreck the aesthetics of the epoxy, like it would look a bit grainy. I didn't put it in. That was a big mistake. I started off sparingly, and then as I got to the end, I had a little bit too much left over. So I came back and topped up some of the high traffic areas where I'm gonna have gym gear. I think if I would have started off normally, not sparingly, it would have been perfect. And that was the bare minimum square meterage. I think they always overestimate what their product will cover, and I think it's a bit of a selling point. I think it's close to the mark, but the coverage rates are based on best case scenario, I think. So if I wouldn't have used the primer, it would have sucked in a lot more of that epoxy. And even though I didn't box myself in, I forgot to turn off the light switch. So I had to come up with a clever idea to turn the light switch off after I'd finished.